Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in live or watching the replay on the talk today that is about selling innovation. Who today buys innovation? I'm really excited to share with you some quick strategies that you can easily implement to help you be more effective when you sell innovation. Over the past few days, I was going live on LinkedIn and YouTube, and I got the pleasure to talk to so many of you about, what are your ambitions and what are you trying to achieve? And I was so happy to read that the strategies I've been sharing with you over the past few days have been really helpful. And so today, it's about helping you get new strategies so you can know how to better sell innovation today. Selling innovation is hard. I think this should not be a secret. It's exciting, but it's hard. And so I want to demystify today for all of you a little bit the innovation curve so you can get to know a little bit where you are on the continuum. And at the end of this live, I will share 3 really simple strategies you can implement right away. But before I get started, I want to just take a brief moment to acknowledge all of you who are watching live or will take the time to watch the replay. If you think you're learning something, I'd love to read your comments in the chat. So do not hesitate to leave a comment or post your questions right under this video so we can make this more interactive and I can get to reply to your comments and questions. So today, who buys innovation? Well, let's see a little bit what is the innovation curve that is going to help you better understand your market. So to those of you who are innovating or trying to innovate, the innovation curve by Moore is going to help you a lot understand better where you are on this curve, where your products are today. Are your products still so new? You have mostly innovators and early adopters buying your products? Or are your products already kind of mainstream, so you're more selling to what we call the early majority or the late majority? And at the end of the spectrum, you can see here we have the people who are kind of late buying. And so I'm going to describe very briefly each of those categories for you to understand better where your products are on this curve. And this is going to help you better talk to them and better sell to them. So the first category are the innovators. Without a surprise, they are my favorites. The innovators are a fairly small and yet very important group for you because they will be the first to buy your innovations. And they will also be the first to spread the word. Those people are risk takers. They like adrenaline. They like to try new things. They also like to be cutting edge and to brag that they've been the first. Those are the first people who adopted the iPhone. They are the people who are so proud to say they've tried something new, something different, and they don't have so much concern about taking risk. So let's see the second category. Now that we've seen the innovators, the early adopters. The early adopters are really important because they're a bit more risk adverse than the innovators, but they are potentially more influential. And the reason for that is because the early adopters are seen by the other people on the curve as people that are maybe can be more trusted than the innovators because they are kind of more risk adverse. So they kind of similar to the other category that are the early majority. The early majority relates more to the early adopters than to the innovators. And so this is why those 2 categories are so important. This category of early majority like to observe others, to see how others are experiencing the new product. Are they having some success? Are they giving positive feedback? Are they giving positive reviews? This category is bigger but they're very more risk adverse than all of the previous categories we have seen so far. And in order for your product to be mainstream and in order for you to grow, you need to reach the early majority. And there are some strategies you can use I will share with you in just a moment. So the early majority is what you're really aiming for, but you also have the late majority, and those are the people who are resistant to change. They do not want to take any kind of risk. They will only adopt the product when the product becomes a common standard. And I think this is the story of Apple and the small laptop they have created, the personal computer, the iPhone, all of those tools. They were so new until the late majority adopted them. It took some time. And then they are the people who are late. They are the least likely to adopt anything that is new. They're highly resistant to change, and they will only adopt your product or your service when it becomes completely mainstream. Those are the people that you're going to take a few years or maybe even a decade to convince. So why all of this matters? All of this matters because when you have an innovative product and you would like to sell it on the market or sell more of your product, and I know many of you have asked me this question, especially when it comes to legal design, which is the thing I love to teach and I love to do, is are people ready to buy this? Are people ready to buy those contracts with visuals? Are really people going to take me seriously if I sell them a contract with comics? Well, when we analyze this curve, this innovation curve, we understand that at some point in the history, there is a turning point. The tipping point is when we move from the early adopters to the early majority. Once we cross this point, this is where we'll have our products more mainstream, but we'll also have more competition because there is less risk for competitors to enter the market, since they see it is safer to approach your products, to approach the market using those kind of innovative products. So my question to you is the following. Where are you on this curve? Are you more early and so you have less competition? Are you more late so you have more competition? Neither one or the other is good. Both of them are not easy. If you come early, you may have less competition, but you're going to have to do a lot of work to onboard the innovators, the early adopters, and the early majority. If you're late on the market and you already have a lot of competition, well, then you need to be able to sell your products over other products, other competitors. So it's still not easy. So either of the answer, there's nothing right or nothing wrong. It's just to be aware about where you are on the market. Maybe in your country, if we take the example of legal design and visual contracts, you are very early, you don't have a lot of competition, but you also see a lot of resistance. Your market may be resistant to this kind of contract using visual, and they may not be ready to buy. But you may find a few innovators and a few early adopters that will follow the innovators, so you can get to build your expertise based on the really, really first people that are ready to buy this kind of service or product. Another way to ask for it is to ask yourself, do you actually have a lot of new customers that tell you it's the first time they're buying such a thing? It happens to us almost all the time at Legal Creatives. Today, I had a conversation with one of the members of our online academy where we teach legal design in a really practical way. And she said, it's my first time. I'm discovering so much. I had no idea all of that was possible. So if you have a lot of customers that actually say it's the first time buying this kind of product, then you know you're very early on the innovation curve. And so what do you need to do now that you know a little bit more where your product is on the curve, whether it's you're early on the curve or maybe you're more late on the curve, so you may have less competition, more competition. Whatever the case, those three compelling strategies will work for you. This is gonna help you sell innovation. First, you need to know if the customer you're talking to has a pain. In fact, you need to know that the customer knows they have a pain. It is not sufficient for you to know that they may have a problem. They need to be aware that they have a problem. So if we take the example of legal design and those contracts using visuals, do you know customers who have a pain with the contracts, meaning those contracts are not being read, so they have very low adherence rate, very lot of risk of non-compliance and litigation? I'm pretty sure there's quite a lot of customers who have this problem, given the research is indicating that the traditional contracts may be perfectly valid and binding from a legal perspective. They are very not so much user-friendly. But the question is, does your customer know that he or she has this pain? If the answer is yes, then good. Then you can try to understand if your customer is actually ready to solve the pain now. It may well be the case that your customer is aware that they have a problem, a challenge, or an issue, but that they have other things that are more urgent to solve now. So if your customer is not ready to solve the pain now, you may not want to try to pursue selling them because they're not ready yet, unless you can convince them and then they change their mind and they want to resolve it now. And the last question is about your customer. Is your customer willing to actually pay for the service or the product that you offer to solve this pain faster? Because sometimes your customers realize they have a problem, they want to solve it now, but they're not ready to pay for it to solve it faster. It may well be the case that the pain is sort of getting comfortable. They're getting comfortable with this pain. It's not hurting so much, so they may not want to pay to resolve it faster. But maybe in the conversation, you can show them that it's actually costing them a lot to not resolve this pain now. And they may change their mind and decide to actually pay to solve it faster. But remember, when you have this innovation curve and when your product is located early or late, you may have more competition or less competition. So this is why the objective is for you to be very well aware of where your product is. So if you do have a lot of competition, you have a really strong, engaging pitch. And yesterday in the live, I talked a lot about that. So I encourage you to rewatch yesterday's live on my profile. But if you have not so much competition, you need to advocate for the benefits and how this product is going to really help them solve this pain and achieve their objectives faster. So right now, I'd love to know a little bit, how did you like today's live? What do you like about it? It could be anything. Please let me know, what did you love about today's live? Did you learn something? Were you surprised? Did you get an insights? I personally love when people interact with me. It gives me some great feedback and juice to keep going. So if you like those lives, please make sure to let me know. And what you would like me to cover in the next live. I see Rodolfo says he really liked this live. This is great. And by the way, Rodolfo, I hope you're going to join us. Tomorrow we have a masterclass inside the Academy. So for those of you who are willing to dive deeper into those strategies, but also to get the support and the feedback to make progress faster, tomorrow I'm teaching UX transformation inside the Legal Creatives Academy. I'm going to share a lot of research about how to understand the emotions of your customers and your users to create a better user experience. And on Friday, we have Isabel Venegas, who's going to teach. I hope, Rodolfo, you're going to join that one. She's their colleague from Chile, living in Barcelona, a great lawyer who's specialist in legal project management. And she's going to talk about legal project management by design on Friday. All of this is happening at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you would like to have a chat, if you have some questions, follow-up ideas, you'd like to talk to me, please book a time to visit me in the virtual space we have created. You can book a time, calendly.com/Lego Creatives, and it will be my pleasure to continue this conversation with you. I hope this was useful, and I really, really look forward to seeing you use the strategies from today in order to really, really understand where you are in your market with respect to your innovation. So if the market is early, you have to be aware that you have to do a lot of promotion, a lot of education, and talk a lot to your customers to have those great stories so you can share those stories, and the innovators and the early adopters can share the stories and spread the word so you can have the early majority to on board with you. And so this is a lot of work, but this is exciting work. Now, if you are already in this market where there's a lot of competition, you need to make sure that the customers who are going to choose you are going to choose you because they're going to get results faster, better results with you. In other words, you're going to bring the best value for the market. So whatever case, just be aware where you are and come back for tomorrow for another live session on the topic of innovation and strategies. Thank you so much for being here. I see that Rodolfo really will be on both class. Rodolfo, amazing. Tomorrow and after tomorrow with Isabel Venega on Lego Project Management. Looking forward to the masterclass, and I'll see you tomorrow inside the Academy and again on LinkedIn. Thanks for being here.